So the other day, I came across an article by developer Adnan Belmadiev, sure I'm butchering the name there, but in which he mentioned that the HTML5 spec brings with it a download attribute for the anchor tag. The download attribute essentially prevents the user from navigating to an href value and instead generates an href request in the background and then forces the user to download the resultant value using the given file name. So in this particular example, if I were to click on this download assets link, the browser would make a request to this generate zip URL, and then it would download the resultant zip file as assets.zip. Now, you can sort of look at this as a progressive enhancement, because if I were to click on this in a browser that didn't support download, I would simply be taken to generate zip, where presumably the server would send back the appropriate content disposition, which would tell it to download it as an attachment using a given file name. So it is progressive in that sense. It's not quite progressive in the sense that the content disposition header will actually take precedence. So if I have a download attribute here that says assets.zip and the server returns a content disposition header that says like generated zip.zip, it would use generated zip.zip when saving the file. So to me, the kind of edge case of this download attribute that seems interesting is downloading data URIs. Chrome has recently started to block the top-level navigation of the browser to a data URI, which means that the download attribute now has an opportunity to make to give the user the ability to download a data URI where they may not have opportunities otherwise. And to explore this, I wanted to play around with the canvas object. I've never used canvas before, so I thought, hey, I can convert a canvas into a data URI, and now I can use the download attribute to save that canvas raster data to the user's computer as a PNG file. So let's jump into the browser to see how this works. So I had recently watched the Jimmy Fallon and Justin Timberlake hashtag skit, and I thought this would be a really fun kind of meme generator to create. So essentially, this whole block here is the canvas object, right? If we jump in here and explore, we can see that here's my canvas, right? It's this entire thing. And below the canvas is a input, and if I clear this, you can see that it's cleared out this portion of the canvas, and I could start adding phrases per line, and each phrase gets turned into a camel case hashtag. So I could say like, let's say Friday deploys, YOLO, daily grind, let's burn this beast to the ground, always be releasin'. And as you can see, each one of these phrases is getting turned into a hashtag using camel case in the particular canvas object. And now, if I click on the download image link, you can see in the little preview there that this is a base64 encoded data URI for the canvas data. And I click download, and you can't quite see because it happened off frame here, but you can see here that it downloaded that hashtag meme PNG. And if I open up my downloads, and the preview app opens, here you can see is the PNG file from the canvas that we just created. So let's take a look at the code to see how that works. So the majority of the code here has to do with generating the canvas itself, i.e. writing the tags to the canvas and so on and so forth. So I just want to show you the part relating to the download. We get a link to our button here, and then as part of the setup, we're adding a click handler to our button, and if we jump down to the save image on button and click, what we can see here is I generate a file name just based on the current epoch time, and then if the browser supports the download attribute, meaning that the download attribute of the current button is not undefined, then I grab the data URL from the canvas. So this returns that base64 encoded data URI for the PNG. I'm saving that into the href value of the button, and then I'm saving the file name that I'm generating up here into the download attribute. So now when the click event propagates up to the browser and the browser goes to execute the default behavior for a click on an anchor tag, it's going to see my data URI in the href, and it's going to then use the download attribute to download the PNG to the user's computer. Now you'll see here that I have a backup for IE11. So Edge supports download, but IE11 does not. But IE11 does have this concept of saving blobs. So I check to see if that method exists, courtesy of Stack Overflow. Thank you very much. And if it does, I then essentially save the canvas blob into the file name. And then otherwise, I just say that you can't download a data URI because of security concerns, right? Because these things are being used for phishing attacks and so on and so forth. So I think this is just a fun little experiment here. And of course, the rest of this has to do with writing tags to the canvas. One difficult thing with writing tags to the canvas is that I have to check to see, I have to measure the text to see when I should wrap it, right? Canvas text doesn't wrap by default. So when I generate text across multiple lines based on the horizontal dimensions, I have to do that manually, and I have to do that based on measurements. Anyway, just a fun little exploration and a good article about some of the cool HTML5 features. Article, I mean the one that Anand Bhamadiev has. And anyway, it seems like the download attribute it provides an interesting way to give the developer a little bit more control over the download experience from the user's perspective. And then with the case of a data URI, especially with something like a canvas, it I think allows us to create a user experience that we might not be able to create easily in another way.